We're welcoming John Deaton to the South Shore Press Newsroom. He is a former United States Senate candidate in Massachusetts, former prosecutor, former Marine. John, it's good to see you, and thanks for spending time with us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So I want to pick your brain as a former prosecutor when it comes to the Charlie Kirk shooting. What is happening right now when it comes to law enforcement and prosecutors piecing together some semblance of a roadmap to catch a suspect?
Yeah, right now you can imagine the entire FBI is on alert. The government, the White House, the FBI's got $100,000 reward for any information that leads to an arrest. They just released 2 photographs of a person of interest. At this point, it looks like someone was a professional, not just the shooting, because anyone could practice with a high powered great scope on a long rifle, but the fact that this person was able to evade. There's reports now of a jet 30 minutes after the shooting turned off its surveillance responder so it could eliminate radar, and then it came back on like an hour later. So they're looking at every lead where they found the rifle, and it has kind of things about transgenderism and fascism and stuff. But you got to decide at the very beginning, at this stage, was this meant to be found? Is this a diversion? Because someone that was able to escape so quickly, you wondered they didn't have a plan for the rifle, so they just discarded it in the woods. So was that meant to be found? But right now, I think they're following just about every lead that comes in.
How much information is just flowing into the offices right now of people who are saying, hey, I have this tip, I have this information? I mean, how swamped are prosecutors and law enforcement right now?
Absolutely overwhelmed. And as you can imagine, the internet and X and Facebook and all of the social media are going to be ripe with conspiracy theories, and there's going to be so many false leads. But right now, I would imagine that they have already allocated just about every resource of the FBI that they can to handle those calls, handle the calls coming in and running down all these leads. I'll be very surprised if there isn't someone, arrested in the next 48 hours.
And last question for you, John. How important is that, the public's help, when it comes to people may have seen something where they think, well, it may not be significant, but it really could be when it comes to breaking open an investigation like this?
I mean, sometimes it's dependent on the public and being able to run down those leads, and certainly would encourage anyone that if they can think of anything that was suspicious, out of the order. Because listen, this attack wasn't just on Charlie Kirk; it really was on our republic. Charlie was out there doing what you're supposed to do, which is meeting you face to face, civilly and respectfully, saying, "Prove me wrong. This is what I believe. Let's have a civil debate." America was born in heated debate. The Federalist Papers, as you know, was a fight, an argument over the Constitution. Hamilton and Madison barely could stand each other, but they didn't use bullets; they used words. And so it's very important that we understand this wasn't just an attack on Charlie Kirk and what he stood for. It's an attack on the way we are, the way we exist as a country.
All right, that's John Deaton, former U.S. Senate candidate, former prosecutor, former Marine. Thank you for joining us. And most important, thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.